Hello, it's Brian Vanderjack, and I'm here to present to you how to achieve great scores on final exams. What is this? Well, this is actually a sneak peek into a brand new book which has just been completed, and the name of that book is 3 Steps You Can Use to Achieve Great Scores on Final Exams, and it's written by yours truly. First off, to keep my insurance rates low, I've got to share with you the following. Terms are provided as is and no guarantee of any kind. Moving right along, the why. Well, we have 2 whys here. First off, why is this important to you? Well, let's face it, higher GPAs mean more access to scholarship, retention of financial aid benefits. You don't pass enough classes, forget, the government's not going to keep on giving those student loans. Also, access to top employers, a higher GPA, the more likely it is you're going to get the interviews you want. And staying in school, at some point you have to achieve a certain GPA to stay in. And the key to all this is getting good scores in your courses so you can have an overall good GPA. And a core component of getting a good core score is your final exams. I mean, I've been in classes where 50% of my final grade was based on a final exam. Is this authentic? You betcha. It is very authentic. Here's my brief bio. I teach at the largest MBA program in the United States. I earned Teacher of the Year. Thank you so much to all those students who supported me on that. I'm still tickled by that. And also, my students get great scores on final exams. To explain, at our university, our final exams are not written by the professors or instructors. Rather, they're written by a team of experts, and instructors don't even see the exams. After they first came out, some instructors are actually boasting about having a high score on these final exams of an 83%. Contrast to what my students were getting, 4 out of 11 students got a perfect score on their final exam. Kind of huge considering the students hadn't seen it, we weren't really sure what was on it, nor did I even see it, but going in there cold, my students nailed it. You're saying probably just a teaching style or some kind of fluke. Well, I shared it with some instructors, and here's some feedback I've been getting. First off, one of my peers, his name is Chad Harris, he said in his class of 8 students, 100% was scored by one of his students on a final exam, and on the same final exam, another student got a 97%. Now again, compare this to other instructors who are happy to get 83%. Even more important here, Chad's students were so happy, you probably can't read it here, but if you get out your magnifying glass, you could probably see it. His students actually bought him a cake on the final day of his course. Now, this is Bob. I've changed his name to protect his privacy, but what Bob had shared with me that before we talked, his students, 78% were getting below a 70% score. In other words, 2/3 of his, 3/4 of his students weren't even getting above a 70%. And actually, I was on my way downtown Chicago to help my son buy some speakers for his DJ business, and my phone rang, and it was Bob. And Bob was like, I don't know what to do. I'm doing my very best. And I was like, Bob, tell you what, this is not your issue, and it is not your student's issue. It's a process issue, and let's treat it like a process issue because you're a bright guy and your students are bright. It's just a matter of how to attack this. So I chatted with Bob for about the half-hour trip down into the Chicagoland area. Guess what? A couple weeks later, he offered the exact same class, and he turned the scores upside down. Suddenly, we're talking 75% were above the 70% level, which means that many students got to go home and tell their parents they're doing great at school. Now, in terms of how we do this, this is actually a sliver of the information in the book, but we're going to take a look at it anyway. This is the actual preparation for your final exam component. You want to organize your material. Just having your material out there, just having it in a dump does not work. You actually have to look at your chapters, write down the important stuff, and organize it. Important stuff are terms, definitions, and famous people, why they're famous, what they were thinking, and possibly if anybody disagreed with them, what those opinions were too. Also, if you're really good, what you're going to do is take your teacher's comments on the material and add those in too, because your teacher has the ability of looking at where you are and morphing it into something that's understandable, so if you can capture those comments too. My students who do the very best actually do that, take the teacher's comments and apply it to what's in the book. So you want to take this goo and turn it into something organized that's great for you when you sit down and do it. Now, at my university, we have our information is stored on a server. It's in PDF format, and what we do is I encourage you to download all those PDFs onto your PC so you have them easily accessible during the final exam. You might say, well, it's on the server. If I need it, I can download it. But the bottom line is, in the middle of a final exam, if there's a server problem or if there's a network problem, good luck. So what you want to do is download it beforehand. And then the next thing you're going to say is, but now I got 20 chapters sitting on my PC. How am I supposed to find anything with my Control F? Is what you want to do is take all that information, all those PDFs, and merge them into a single PDF. And the way to do that is go to my website, leadpresenter.com, and find the link to some software that'll actually merge all those things together for you. And that tab on leadpresenter.com is Help for You. So download all those PDFs on your PC well before the final exam, and then merge them using the information that is linked to on that website. Now, we're all humans. We have this stress thing going on. If you do not understand your textbook going into the final exam, there's a really good chance of panicking. Also, during the final exam, it's hard to really think. Understanding it has to happen well before the final exam, so take the time out and read in advance. Do not be seduced by open note, open book. Learn it in advance so you have a calm sense of success. Now we're going to talk about the practice test. What they typically do is give you a practice test and say, here, take it enough times. If you don't do a good job on it, obviously you didn't study hard enough, try again. That's kind of a naive way of looking at it. What you'd rather want to do is, I agree with that. You want to take it and assess your level of knowledge. But what you can do is, these little guys down here, this is a picture of what the test writing team looks like. They're vicious. And you know what? You can use that practice test to get inside their heads. Open it up and see what's there. What you can do, once you open up the practice test, you can get the look and feel of a correct answer. Is the final exam writing team going right to the book? Are they asking you to infer based on the material they provided? When I took the project management certification exam, about a third of my time I actually spent just taking practice tests to get the look and feel of a right answer. Because I'll tell you what, I did not get the right answer a lot when I first started taking these practice tests, because I just put down what I thought was right. It's not what you think is right. It's not what your teacher thinks is right. It's what the test writer thinks is right. And the practice exam is a great way to get a look into the minds of those exam writers. Now, you're also probably going to be able to take that exam on your own PC, so you might as well get cozy. Go get yourself a cup of joe, get some bananas, whatever turns you on. And the bottom line is, the more you can control in your environment, the more in control you will feel. And that's exactly what you're doing here. Then you want to pick the right place. You want to pick the right time. Is the place you're picking going to be quiet? If you think, well, in a quiet place, is it relatively loud, like a restaurant with a Wi-Fi connection? Pick the place that's right for you. And also, you can pick the best time. Say, for example, you happen to be really tired at the end of a day, then take it in the morning. Pick and choose your time when you are at your best. Now, in terms of online distractions, that little website we all been talking about lately, the one that's got a lot of faces on it, I definitely would turn that thing off. Also, turn off your cell phone, turn off your text messaging, turn off your phone, turn off anything that can get in the way of your success. Even one answer off could spell a difference in a whole letter grade. So you want to control what you can and shut off those distractions. Now, in terms of the future, in the book, there's more tips on preparation. I just gave you a handful of the tips, but there's a whole lot more in the book. Also, what I've seen a lot is the most debilitating thing students run into, and people who are actually taking like certification tests, is the stress. There's actually specific tools and techniques you can do well in advance of your final exam to get over that stress. And they're well spelled out in the book. Also, test time strategies. We actually look at the test final exam from two specific ways. First off, what you're going to do about the whole test. And then specific tools and techniques you can use to address specific questions. So you're going to hit it from both sides. So there's a picture of the cover of my book. And what I'd like to share with you, ladies and gentlemen, is first off, thank you so much for paying attention. The way to find a copy of the book and more information is leadpresenter.com/7.html. Or for those of you who like to go in the tabs, it's leadpresenter.com and go to the Help for You tab. Thank you for taking time out to listen to this presentation on how to achieve great scores on final exams.